Reuters Newsline. I am Michael Chigani. Tonight, the very controversial commentator, Chip Chow. Thank you, Chip. You and I are old friends. We go back many years.
Thank you for stereotyping me as controversial.
Well, you are controversial.
Once again.
Every time you come, I say you're controversial. But you know, as I say, you and I are good friends. We go back many years. I invited you here today because there are some very, very big issues in Hong Kong. We've got the chief executive election that's coming up, and there's a lot of controversy blowing up on that. And of course, there's this very thorny issue of mainlanders and Hong Kong and hostility towards mainlanders. You know, I was going to ask you about the mainlanders first, but because of the big controversy on the chief executive election, I'm going to go to the chief executive election first. You've got two scandals. CY Leung, a candidate, Leung Chun-ying, he was here just a few weeks ago, involved in a scandal regarding conflict of interest in the West Kowloon Cultural District. And then you've got Henry Tang, who was also here some weeks ago, involved now in this big scandal about illegal structures in his home. In Hong Kong, this is not a direct election.
No.
But are we now getting ahead of ourselves? Should these things matter, or should the issues matter?
Well, first of all, you have to differentiate the nature of such scandals a little bit, right? Now, does building an illegal structure within his own precinct of property
This was underneath his house.
Yeah, underneath his house.
They say it's a palace.
Yes, or expand his cellar a little bit and then convert it into something like Buckingham Palace, right? Okay, it's fabulous, but does it threaten the public interest as compared with someone, you know, who try to cover up, right, some sort of
a conflict of interest regarding a contest for the West Kowloon Cultural District.
That's right. So when in the other case, you're talking about a project involving billions of money to be paid out, you know, on different projects and issues. I think a sensible citizen should differentiate the nature a little bit.
So you're saying that Henry Tang's...
I'm not saying, I'm not interested in local politics. I'm telling you, I'm trying to what you say, the meaning of scandals.
Chip, shouldn't it matter, Chip, that in the beginning, Henry Tang did not any knowledge of this illegal structure underneath his house, and then he said, "Oh, it's just a little hole," and then he said, "No, it's deeper than we had decided to dig it," and then now some papers say it's this huge, and it's a palace. So, is there an integrity issue here?
Well, I'm not sure because this sounds a little bit hilarious. It reminded me of the trial of the late King Louis XVI, right? When he was put on the trial, he was interrogated by the revolutionaries whether he had any contact with any revolutionaries, right? Because at that time they were highly suspicious of Mirabeau of collaborating secretly with the king, right? And he said he didn't remember a thing. And he was asked whether he kept in secret contact with foreign powers, like the Dutch or the Austrian imperial court. He said no, until they stomped into the Versailles and found an iron safe, right? And then they opened it, they found all the secret correspondences he wrote to Mirabeau and all these foreign powers. Right?
So, you know,
so he was convicted. Later.
Okay.
I mean, it's a kind of weakness, born weakness.
Well, you know, I remind you of President Clinton.
Rather than being, you know, being.
Well, you know, Bill Clinton, in the beginning, when the story broke about him and Monica Lewinsky, he said, and I also remember those words because I was working in the U.S. at the time. He said, I have had no sexual relationship with that woman.
That was a calculation, yes.
And eventually he had to admit that he did, but he survived.
Yes.
He survived and served out the full 8 years, and he's remembered as one of the best loved and best American presidents in recent times. Yeah. Can Henry Tang survive this?
I'm not sure. This is what you call crisis management. In order to survive a personal crisis like that, you have to show great confidence at the very beginning, right? Even if you were telling a lie, right, you had to make sure, in the case of Henry Tang, that the truth never came up or could never be proved, right? In the case of Hillary Clinton, the only truth known was literally between him and Lewinsky, right?
That's correct.
And nobody else.
Bill Clinton, right.
Because
right.
when they did that kind of things, not a single third person was present. Right?
Well,
But
in
this
Henry's
case,
case, there are a lot of other
in
people
this
who...
case, you're talking about a cellar, a huge basement, which could be there, physically there, which can be found out by anyone at any time.
You know,
so it's a bit of a risk.
I asked you whether will Henry Tang survive. Let me ask you this: should Henry Tang survive?
Well, then you have to pose that question to Beijing, because most Hong Kong people have no right to vote for him.
Sure. In your opinion, as a political commentator, as a well-known columnist, and I know you have certain sympathies for Henry Tang, but do you...
And the other guy as well.
Yeah, should he survive?
Well, it's a Hobson's choice for Hong Kong. Everyone knows that. And, well, we are a bit pathetic to have been given the choice of these two. Right?
Do you think either one of them you don't think either one will make a good chief executive?
No.
Tell me why.
I don't think either of them is the ideal choice.
Tell me why.
For you and for me.
Tell me why.
Why do I need to be that frank, right? Look, you've lived through a few American elections in the U.S.
I've worked and lived in America and in the UK.
And I resided in the UK during the 1980s, and I've witnessed how people like Margaret Thatcher won landslide victories. And you and I have both seen great orators, speech givers, speakers in Senates, House of Commons, and they, I would believe, are the kind of first-class politicians as compared with those in Hong Kong.
So if you had to vote, you will not vote for either one of them?
No, even if I do. Right.
Okay. Well, a lot of people actually say that, and I think a lot of people will be saying that.
Because it's a question that should be posed to Beijing.
Sure.
Beijing, why are we given candidates of this class? Why? Even if there's 1,200 people.
Will candidates of a higher class, use your own word, come out in 2017 when you and I can vote?
Well, I'm not sure what's going to happen in 2017. But with these two guys, now placed in front of us as a Hobson's choice, I think some people would prefer Henry Tang because he looks a little bit more naive, right?
People say he's a stupid pig and Siwa Leung is a cunning fox.
No, it's a bit acerbic, of the remarks to make, but
I didn't make the people say that.
Most people told me that they can't read through the mind of Siwa Leung, right? And they are the people.
And I asked him the same question. He was here just a few weeks ago, and I said, people don't trust you. Tell the people why they should trust you. And he actually looked into the camera, and he said, you should trust me. That's what he did a few weeks ago.
Well, did it work?
I have no idea whether it worked. But tell me this, Chip. Our politics, are they like the politics of Hong Kong? It's taking a different direction now, isn't it? If you look back 2 years or 3 years ago, politics were not this way. People don't go and dig into somebody's extramarital affair. They don't go and look at somebody's house, whether the basement is illegal. They don't go and search through 10 years of files to see whether somebody had a conflict of interest. This is a very American style.
Yes. Well, for some people...
Is it good for Hong Kong or bad?
I'm not sure, but for some people, by doing so, they think they live in international metropolitan cities like New York and London. But I have to remind them from time to time in my columns that
this is the Chinese city.
No, this is a Chinese city. It's only a fantasy. No matter how much you dig into what sexual, juicy, sensational affairs of Henry Tang or whoever, you still live in the Chinese city. I'm sorry.
Why is the Chinese city different from New York City or London?
Because the 2 or 3 candidates who emerge, right, are not our best desirable candidates. And majority of Hong Kong people have no votes at all. We are basically audience rather than voters or participants.
But that is supposed to change, as I said, in 2017, 5 years from now.
Some people said so, but I'm not that confident. Change, yes. Right, Obama claimed that he would change, but did he? Right? In the year of 2017, we have no clue, what China is going to be like. They made it clear from time to time that not anyone could put your name forward to be decided by more than 4 or 5 million voters in Hong Kong. Only carefully selected candidates can be admitted.
Are you comfortable with the direction Hong Kong is taking? You've got this thing, like I mentioned, about scandals involving chief executive candidates. You've got this growing hostility towards mainlanders in Hong Kong. It seems to me that you and I have lived in Hong Kong for many years. It seems like the character, the very nature of Hong Kong is changing.
Yes, but that's natural. What can you do about it?
Are you comfortable about that?
Well, I am, yes.
I know you've always been a very cynical person, Chip.
No. One country, two systems. You're talking about multiculturalism, liberalism and tolerance, right?
Do we have all of that here?
In the world, should we live together, coexist with countries like Sweden and Finland and the United Kingdom? Should we coexist peacefully with other countries like the Fijis or Papua New Guinea, right? Or some African states, and shall we, interact with each other and trying to sort out our culture?
Should we not?
Should we?
I don't know, I'm asking you.
Oh, of course we should. I'm afraid. This is the reality in Hong Kong now, right? We put all the eggs in the same basket. Ask Tung Chee-hwa 10 years ago. He told Hong Kong people that, hey, you should be proud because you have the whole motherland behind you to back you up.
But people still...
Hong Kong's economic future would depend on China solely. Right? At that time, I raised my hand and showed and tried to express a different opinion. I said, hey, what about an international city?
Exactly.
Should Hong Kong, tourism-wise, should Hong Kong not promote itself a little bit?
As an international city. Let me stop you right there.
To the Japanese and to the Europeans. Right. And I was told, no, China is a big market, 1.4 billion, that's it. Okay. This is what you get now.
Okay, we'll come back soon with more of Chip Chow.